And you didn't hear a word of that because I forgot to unmute myself. Hello and welcome. Salutations. Let's try this again. Salutations, lovely people in my computer. I've been talking. Yep. I was muted. I was definitely muted. That's okay. Now I'm ready to start. Are you ready to listen now? Hey. Welcome to Durante's House of Music. I, as always, am Tom Durante, the maestro, here at Durante's House of Music. Today is a lovely Tuesday, the 15th of April. I've got some fun stuff in store for you today. This is the maestro, your guide to all things musical. From piano repairs, music theory, live music history, music production, music performance, and everything in between. Now you can hear me. I look over and I see my mixer and it was gray and I was like, ah, and it was just so funny. The volume is still low? A little bit. We'll crank it up a little bit. That's better. Now we're in the orange. I don't want to be in the red. If I get too excited, I'll be in the red, and that would be bad. Red equals bad. So anyway, welcome. It is a Tuesday. I've got some fun things in store for you today, and I was just, so proud of myself. I was like, oh, I got everything ready today. Everything is great. And then my camera wasn't zoomed in. My live stream, I'm trying to make the chat bigger, the text bigger, and it wasn't big. It went away for a second, so I'm going to leave that alone. Hopefully you can read this box right here. Hopefully you can read that. Hopefully you can see. I don't think that's the accurate number. Let me look on my studio. But I've got some music history for you today. Live music history. I've got some, I'm experimenting with some new. That is not my dashboard. I'm experimenting. Come on now. I'm experimenting with some new hashtags and stuff. That is not the dashboard. It's not telling me. Today's going great. There it is. 265 subscribers. If it wants to. Oh, come on. Let's try this camera. 265. So this number over here needs to update. Refresh. Anyway, it's a lovely Tuesday, the 15th. Salutations. Oh, my Lord. I did not update my key of the day yesterday. Anybody remember what it was? I remember what key it was. And I think I remember what number it was. It was the key of G. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We'll get to that. We got to do our music history first. Whew. Let's remember to stay hydrated too. Your body is mostly water. Make sure you get your daily dose. You drink until you're not hungry. Until you're not hungry anymore. Or thirsty. And I wanted to have a shot of espresso before I went live today. Oh boy, that would have been fun to watch. All right. So, sometimes when you use an AI, okay, you're on there, you're using your AI, your chat GPT, if you like really programmed and censored material, or, your Grok, if you like an AI that doesn't censor your material. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, then, ask Grok and ask ChatGPT some controversial things and see what they answer. Because one of them will tell you true things, and one of them will kind of distract you. But anyway, I used to use ChatGPT a lot. I experimented with hosting my own AI on a computer, and that worked, but it was just, the training data was very old. It stopped at 2021, so and I didn't have any access to the internet. So shortly thereafter, Grok became a thing, and I was like, oh, let me try this thing out, and it's taken over. I've used it for a lot of things. You can consult it. You can take a picture. Like I was trying to adjust some settings on my garage door because I'm an adult. I'll be 36 next week, and these are the things that you do as an adult. You adjust your garage door. You have that to look forward to. So I was adjusting my garage door, and I didn't know how to do what I was trying to do, so I took a picture of the back of the garage door opener, and I said, how do I do it with this, blah, blah, blah. And it was like, this is this model, blah, blah, blah. It says this. If you need help, you can go to this website, which is listed right here on the thing. And it just knew everything. And it said, push this button, do that thing, and then you'll have it. So it worked. It's pretty smart. So sometimes, my point is here, sometimes when you're asking it things, and I would advise you to start a new question, a new thread for every question that you may have. Don't let it go on too long. I had the habit of just like having one long conversation, and it would go into all different topics, and then eventually it would just start to lag. So like I'd be typing, and the letters would show up like I was typing, and it would just go really, really slow. And so eventually, like, I must have just clogged up the chat. So I've started to, eventually I go on too long, and I'm like, okay, I need to make a new one. So all of that to say, I've got two different versions of my music history. So I'm going to take a little bit of both. So we're going to go on too long here, and we're already 15, 16 minutes here. So can I have today's music history events? Here are 6 varied music history facts for April 15th, 2025, spanning classical to modern genres for your live stream. Eastern Daylight Time. It just likes to remind you things. It regurgitates a little bit. And if you ever get an AI hallucination, those are kind of fun. I'll get back onto AI a little bit later, maybe. Classical debut, 1800. On April 15th, 1800, Ludwig van Beethoven premiered his first symphony in Vienna. Symphony number 1, that's exciting. Its lively melodies and bold energy delighted audiences, marking the start of his legendary career and inspiring young musicians today. That's interesting, because he would have been 30 years old, if I know my history properly. I believe he was born in 1870, and so that would have made him 30 years old when he debuted his first symphony. And he'd been making music most of his life. His dad was a musician as well. All right. Number 2, opera expansions, 1874. Giuseppe Verdi's opera Aida was performed in Vienna on April 15th, 1874, spreading its grand tale of love and adventure across Europe. Its colorful costumes and catchy tunes make it a favorite in family opera programs. Jazz Festival 1955. On April 15th, 1955, the first Newport Jazz Festival began planning for its debut later that year. This event brought jazz to wider audiences with fun performances by stars like Ella Fitzgerald, still celebrated in music classes. All right, let's do another one from 1955. Rock and roll. Fats Domino, classic. Released Ain't That a Shame on April 15th, 1955. A rollicking hit? Rollicking hit. That's what it says. I don't know that that's correct. A rollicking hit that peaked at number 10 on the Billboard Hot 100. Co-written with Dave Bartholomew, its infectious rhythm and Domino's warm vocals made it a rock and roll classic. Later covered by Cheap Trick and others, spreading joy across generations. a rock release in 1966. The Rolling Stones released their album Aftermath on April 15th, 1966 in the UK. With hits like Paint It Black, its playful rhythms and storytelling lyrics remain a hit for family road trip playlists. Pop milestone 1989. On April 15th, 1989, New Kids on the Block's album Hangin' Tough hit number 1 in the US. Its upbeat songs like You Got It, The Right Stuff, sparked dance crazes, loved by kids and parents alike. Musical premiere, 2005. The Broadway musical Spamalot, inspired by Monty Python, opened on April 15th in 2005 in Chicago before its Broadway run. Its silly songs like Always Look on the Bright Side of Life bring laughs to all ages. Very interesting. And let's do one more here. 2017, classical crossover. Jethro Tull's The String Quartets hit number 1 on the Billboard Classical Albums chart on April 15th. This inventive album reimagined Tull's rock hits like Aqualung as string quartet arrangements, performed by the Carducci String Quartet, offering a fresh, family-friendly bridge between rock and classical worlds. Well, isn't that interesting? Let's pull up our random number generator. Now, Alex thinks it's going to be 7, but we haven't done 12 yet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So until we've done all the different keys, I'm not going to repeat one. So you are quite mistaken. That was one of our first keys. There may have been one before this, but I don't remember what that was. Those are the ones that I remember. So 8 was yesterday. 8 was yesterday. There it is. Whatever screen you want to look at. Boop. 1. Already had it. Boop. 7. Already had it. Boop. 10. Already had it. 10 again. How random. 9. Ding, ding, ding. We have a winner. I wonder if that's the key. That would be crazy if it was. Nope. A flat. Or G sharp. Whatever strikes your fancy. Remember enharmonics. Let's clear off the keys and do a little jam. Get out of here. Oh no, my white marker. My whiteboard marker. Yeah, you did kind of call it, but I'm not repeating the key, so you did not call it. And remember, 3 half steps away from the root of this key, 3 steps down, 3 half steps, is our relative minor. So from A flat, that would be F minore. was interesting. I was playing around with an idea there. I like the 3. And the 4. Rollicking. We got a message in here defining a word that I was unsure about. Rollicking. Exuberantly lively and amusing. Good rollicking fun. Thanks, Dad. So we're in A flat. C minor is the third, excuse me. So if we consult the almighty chord progression chart here, we have A flat. I'm going to 3 here. And then I'm going to 4 here. I could go to 6. We'll try that. See how that sounds. These are my options. These are not like, this is not a law, like you must do this, but it is convention. It is highly conventional that you will do this. Or this is voice leading things that have worked over the years. And so it's just conventional that these chords sound good together. And I'm not really looking at that when I'm playing. I may look at it, but I'm not like, oh, I should do this, I should do that. It's just there. Like, that's why this camera is showing you what I'm looking at. Because, like, sometimes I move, sometimes I make faces, and my microphone may hide that. I could turn it down like that so you can see my face, like, getting into it. But yeah, like, I'm looking all over. I'm looking at my OBS over there. I'm just kind of looking around. So I'm not looking at that and saying, okay, what should I do? But I've arrived at something that I like. This is a 1. And then a 3. 4. And then I went to 5. And then we talked about a deceptive cadence because 5 is so strong, so strongly compelling you to go back to 1 when it doesn't do that and it goes to 6 instead. It's like, ooh, it's interesting. And then I did something different here. I went to, I don't know how you would call that. Is that a flat 7? And that goes to 4. Oh, you know what? That could just be a 5. No, it's not a 5 or 4. Is it? Is that a 4? No, that's a 3. Huh. I did something weird and I don't know what I did, but it kind of worked. That's a 4. That's a D flat. That's a G. Okay. But the 5 of 4 is the 1. Oh, okay, so that's, this is the 5 of this. Weird. I don't know what I'm doing, but it sounds kind of cool. And maybe I should just stop. That's the problem sometimes with theory, is that you get too into it and you're like, well, what do the rules say? And instead you're just like, well, hey, this sounds really cool. Sounds like something. That's 3 to 6. Have a plagal cadence going from 4 to 1. It's typical of an amen at the end. Amen. So I did whatever that is. It's like a flat 7, because this should be 7. Leading tone. And instead I did this. I guess I'm borrowing a chord from the minor, because you can see here you can have, there's a whole nother version of this for minor. So that's a lowercase indicating a minor chord. So you can have a leading tone in minor, in a harmonic minor scale, but you can also have a major 7, which is on a whole step away from the tonic. So I'm kind of borrowing that from the minor. I let you have the paper. It was me that let you have the paper, and you refused to take it. And now it is a staple of my live stream, so you'll never get it back. I can always print you another one. I just find it fascinating how different keys evoke different things out of my playing. And so that's kind of why this is a fun little experiment, don't you agree? Well, hey, howdy boy, howdy there. Let's take a look at some 7th chords. It's a little bit overdue. We've missed a few lessons, but it's okay. We can just hop right back in. Okay, so a recap. We've gone over all of this material. If you go back and look, and I really need to, unfortunately, I looked at clipping. I made a couple clips and I shared them over on my Instagram, and I will continue to do that. But unfortunately, clips are limited to 60 seconds. And they're like, I could talk about nothing for an hour, and you watch me sometimes do that. So like 60 seconds is like the amount of time it takes me to breathe. Like, and it's still got like 20 seconds left. But like 60 seconds is nothing. So I'll probably do some, and maybe I can just clip some little snippets and make some shorts. Oh, I didn't realize my hair was still up. Maybe I can clip some little things and appease the YouTube algorithm and make some shorts. But like, that's just not my style. As you can see, long form, stream of consciousness is my style. I'm just talking to the screen here, so you got a nice view of me shaking out the locks, but I didn't put you over here. And you can see now my subscriber count, has updated 266. I mean, we're growing, because this is a community. This is me sitting in my bedroom with a couple of cameras and a microphone, but it is we. Because like I'm not just doing this for me. If it were me, I would just do what I normally do and just play and make a voice recording to never listen to again. But instead, I'm uploading it onto YouTube for you. That's why it's called YouTube. It's not called MeTube. Anyway, if it was, if I named it, maybe it would be. All right. Enough joking around. It's time to get serious. So, we have talked about the basics. All of these things. Okay? Things that I would say are crucial for your understanding and continued growth in this music theory aspect. Okay? Steps and accidentals. If you're having trouble understanding the difference between a minor third and a major third, you need to go back and look at that. And also the intervals, right? So, I erased it, didn't I? No, I didn't. Yeah, could you imagine if I had an espresso before this? This is just me, slightly sleep deprived, awake for 14 hours, 14 and a half hours, going strong. And I used to have a second coffee, but not anymore. Oh, look, there we are. We got everything in one screen, except for now it's there in front of that camera, and we keep getting closer. All right, so your order of understanding things. I'm going to scroll it up like Star Wars. Notes. I know it's a little bit deteriorated because it's just a whiteboard and it gets kind of knocked around here. But the way that you need to understand things in order is notes and then scales, because scales are made up of notes. And if you don't understand notes or whole steps or half steps, you got to go back and check that out. And feel free to go to musictheory.net and read and reread. Post a comment. Like if you're not in my live chat and you're just watching this again later, or just watching it for the first time later, comment on the video. I got my phone with me at all times, and I get notified whenever people comment on stuff. And I've had a couple, which is kind of cool. So please feel free. I am your on-demand music theory teacher for free. All I ask is a like and subscribe, and hit the notification bells, share the video with your friends. Tell them about this weird dude with a purple beard teaching you music theory. Anyway, you got to do notes. Notes, scales are comprised of notes in various arrangement. Intervals are derived from scales. That's how I understand them. Some people in my theory class, have a better understanding of intervals just by thinking of half steps. So, that goes back to notes. So, even still, you're still building upon this. And then chords are made up of intervals, which are derived from scales, which are comprised of notes. And then seventh chords add an extra layer of complexity to all of that. I'm parched. All right. Without any further ado. So those are the layers that you need to get into. Okay? Key signatures help you understand scales. Intervals and chords are derived from a scale. That's how I best understand it, right? If I'm looking at this interval, it's a D and a G. I think, based off of the lowest note here, I think we are in the key of D. D has two sharps, F sharp and C sharp. G is not one of those. So it is diatonic, other words, part of the scale. Okay, so that then I count, or first you should count 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that time you do count. When you're counting half steps, you're counting a space away from that note, so you start with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 half steps is a perfect fourth. But I think about it, D to G. G is diatonic in the key of D. So it's a fourth, and it's diatonic, so it's perfect. It's not altered in any way. Okay, if it was like this, I'll say, okay, well, I can either call that, it depends how you see it. If it's on the staff and it has a flat on it and it's an A flat, let's just say. Okay, so D to A, you see D to A on the staff. Let's see if I could do this. There are tools. I have composition software, but yeah, look at this. So I can do, oh man, that was loud. Please stop. Okay. I was gonna do. Nope, not what I want. Diminished fifth from a D. What are you doing? Get rid of that. Oh yeah, there you go. Okay. So this is what I'm gonna play. Okay, we have D to A flat. Okay. If you were to ignore the flat and you were to just look at D and A, you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so that's how you get the generic size. Remember, generic size is how far away it is. 5. Okay, but it's got a flat on it, so it's this note. So, diatonically, within the key of D, A does not have a sharp. Remember, F sharp and C sharp. That's not one of those. So, it's less than it should be. And they have a nice little arrangement of all the possible intervals here. And so you go from perfect. If you get smaller, there's no minor. Remember, they show you unison, which would be over here. It has perfect, augmented, or diminished. A fourth has perfect, augmented, or diminished. A fifth, the same thing. An octave, the same thing. And as I was describing to my class the other day, you can doubly diminish and doubly augment it, but apparently that's too complicated to put all on a beginner website, which I totally get. So, just to explain that, if we were talking about, let's continue talking about this. So, we have a perfect fifth from D to A. We have a diminished fifth from D to A flat. Now, you can add a double flat to that. Let's see. I don't think it'll do that, will it? No. It'll just do both of them. I don't want that. So I can double flat the A. Okay? So what do you call that? Well, you have a diminished fifth here. You have a double diminished fifth. Okay, yeah. Well, I'm playing a G. Well, sorry. It's not a G. It's an A double flat. That's just the way it is. Let's move on before I get even further into the weeds. All right. So, back to our lessons. We need to talk all about seventh chords. We talked a little bit about them. Maybe I'll go through this just as a refresher. But we need to get through more seventh chords, and we'll talk about seventh chord inversions, because seventh chords inversions are basically like triad inversions. Just one more note. And then we talked about Roman numeral analysis. We'll go over that briefly. And we need to get into diatonic seventh chords. And maybe we'll talk about Roman numeral analysis of seventh chords. And we'll save some of this for another lesson. So we're pretty much done, which is crazy. It's taken about 2 weeks to just go over all of this information. So let us real briefly just kind of go over this. Scale degrees, we have tonic, dominant, subdominant, equidistant away from the tonic. One's dominant, one's subdominant. The mediant is in between the dominant and the tonic. The submediant is between the subdominant and the tonic. The supertonic is just above the tonic. The leading tone is a half a step away from the tonic. And if it was a minor scale and it was a whole step away from the tonic, it would be called the subtonic. Otherwise, everything else remains the same. Okay, that was your brief refresher on scale degrees. Let's look briefly at seventh chords. Okay, seventh chord is a triad and an interval of a seventh of some type. Okay, we're we're just going to go all the way to the end. Okay, there it is. So we have a 7th chord and its name, which is equal to, whatever is comprised of, a triad of some type plus an 7th interval of some type. And this is some abbreviations. So if you have a major triad, such as a C major triad, and you have a minor 7th, which is a whole step away from the octave, which is a B flat in this case, you have a dominant 7th. In our key of the day, A flat, you go to the dominant, okay? I'm just going to build a dominant 7 in the key of A flat. So you go to the dominant, which is E flat, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're going to build an E flat, and I'm just hopping down here. You're going to build an E flat dominant 7th by building a major triad on E flat, G, B flat. And remember, if you need to review, your major triad has a major third on the bottom and a minor third on the top. So 4 half steps and 3 half steps. Okay? Now, remember, a minor 7th is 2 half steps or a whole step away from the octave. That's how I think about it instead of counting all the steps. If you wanted to count all the steps, you don't count this first one. You'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's kind of complicated. I don't know. Okay. Major triad, minor 7th is a dominant 7th. And that leads you back to your tonic. Okay? That's just one chord. Let's keep going. Major 7th. Okay? We'll just go back to C for this case. A major triad, major 3rd, minor 3rd, and a major 7, which is a half step from the octave. Now I think what I may do, because theory to me is best understood on the piano. And the first time I said that, I said piano theory is best understood on the piano. Well, duh, of course it is. But music theory is what I meant. I think I was saying piano. And then I said theory is best understood on the piano. That's what I was saying. So it's best understood on the piano. But not everybody plays the piano, including me. I play more than the piano. If you start on the piano, let's get serious for a minute. If you start on the piano, every other instrument is easier. You've heard it, maybe. People have said that to you before. It's true. Take it from the maestro. So, major 7. Major triad, major 7th. Pop up in the chat if you're here and you got any questions. I see some people are popping in and out. Feel free to ask me a question. This is live music theory lesson. A minor 7th is a minor triad, 3 half steps, and 4 half steps. Sorry, I'm going very rapidly there. Minor triad and a minor 7th, which is 2 half steps away from the octave. So minor, minor, also known as a minor, minor 7th. For complete redundancy. Anyway, minor 7th. A lot of these are jazzy chords. Like on Friday I played Autumn Leaves. I think that starts with an A minor 7. And then goes to D minor 7. Anyway, half diminished. So the diminished 7th chords are where we get a little bit of confusion. So we're going to build a diminished triad, which is 3 half steps and 3 half steps. Remember, diminished triad. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So that is an E flat and a G flat, not a D sharp and an F sharp, because you need thirds to make a triad. Okay? C, E, G. And that's maybe just open another window with that thingy on it so I can show you both. Duplicate. And we'll go to the home page, we'll go to the tools, and we'll go to the chord calculator. So, this is what we're looking at. That's a major. Let's make a diminished triad. Okay? So you are stacking thirds to make a triad. Okay? So if you have a diminished triad, although you can call this a D sharp, I don't need a D. I need an E of some kind. So it's an E flat because it's 3 half steps. And then 3 half steps to a G flat. Okay? To make a half diminished 7th chord, half diminished 7th, I'm going to use a diminished triad and a minor 7th, which is a whole step away from the octave. Okay? And that has a particular sound. Okay? And then our final one is a fully diminished, or a diminished. You call it a fully diminished 7th. And that is a diminished triad with a diminished 7th. Okay, so remember, the major interval types, the ones that have a major and a minor, you go from major to get smaller, you go to minor. To get smaller again, you go to diminished. Remember, if you go to major and you get bigger, you go to augmented, but we're not doing that right now. So, octave, major 7th, minor 7th, double flat, diminished 7th. So a diminished triad and a diminished 7th. And remember, these are all minor thirds, which are 3 half steps. 1, 2, 3, E flat. 1, 2, 3, G flat. 1, 2, 3, not A. Not A. You need a B of some kind. So it's B, double flat. Is this confusing yet? I hope not. I hope I'm explaining it well. Let me know in the comments below if this is completely confusing or if you get it. Because I hope you get it. Or if I helped you get it, which would be nice. That's kind of the whole point. All right. 7th chords. That was a refresh because we already talked about that in a previous lesson. I think it was in the chords lesson, I think. So if you go back to my previous live, it will be in the chords one. All right, more 7th chords. More 7th chords. Yes. Now, this is our lesson. This is not a review, so let's learn. Additional types of 7th chords can occur in popular music and jazz. You like jazz? Let's learn about 3 of these additional types. A minor triad and a major 7th. Ooh, combine to form a minor major 7. Minor for the triad, major for the what? Minor triad. Minor for the triad. I did just say that. And major for the 7th. Oh, I can't think of anything more jazzy than that, and I think it sounds like 007 too. Pretty sure that's the end of 007. Okay, anyway. Minor, major 7th chords are abbreviated with a lowercase m and a capital M and a 7. Now maybe you understand why the minor 7th is called a minor 7. Minor, triad, minor 7th. Now we have a minor major. That sounds like I'm coming around the corner with my Beretta. Let's examine a C minor major 7. C, E flat, G is the minor triad. C, B is the major 7. Remember, it's a half a step away from the octave. When combined, they form a C minor major 7th chord. Now, let's do a bunch of other ones. So, F sharp minor major 7. F sharp. So, if you have trouble with the sharp keys, let me lay it out for you like this. You can transpose. Transposing is the act of changing the key to something that's more easily digestible, right? So, F, for instance, is more easily digestible. F major triad. Remember, major is 4 half steps and then 3 half steps. F, A, C is an F major triad. So, if you go and sharp all of those, F sharp, A sharp, C sharp, you should have an F sharp major triad. So if you have F sharp A natural and C sharp, then you have a minor triad. Okay, so it's a minor triad, and a major seventh is a half step away from that F sharp, and it's not F, it's E sharp, because when you're stacking thirds, this doesn't come to an F, it's an E, so you need an E of some kind. Oh yeah. When combined, they form an F minor major 7. F sharp, A, C sharp, E sharp. Ooh, the key of the day is represented here. Let's examine an A flat minor major 7th chord. A flat, C flat, E flat. Okay, if that's confusing to you, go up a half step to A. A, 4 half steps, is C sharp. 3 half steps is E, so that's an A major triad. If you go down a half step to A flat, you'd have A flat, C natural, E flat. So to make it minor, you need to lower the third by a half step. You'll come up with 3 half steps to C flat. That's not a B, my friends. I really hope you understand that, because that's why I'm drilling it. C flat, you need a C, not a B. C flat and E flat is the minor triad. And a half step away from A flat is G. And that is a major 7, excuse me. They all sound very similar. That is due, in fact, to equal temperament and how it ruined harmony. And there's a book about that and why you should care. When combined, they form an A flat minor major 7th chord. A flat, C flat, E flat, G. Oh, okay, we're moving on here. An augmented triad and a major 7th combine to form an augmented major 7th chord. So an augmented major 7th chords are abbreviated with a plus sign, a capital M, and a 7. So augmented triad and a major 7th. C, E, G, sharp is an augmented triad. Remember, you augment something by making it a half step larger. So, an augmented triad, refresher for our triad lesson. Augmented triads are made of 2 major thirds. So that's 4 half steps. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. It gives us a G sharp, not an A flat, a G sharp, because you need a G, not an A. And then the B is a major 7th. It's a half step away from the octave. Are you ready? Let's hear it. That's pretty cool. Pretty cool. We got 6 people in the views. Give me some chats. Lay it in there. Put a message. Just say hi. I'm doing this for you. Hello, people. Salutations, people in my computer. All right. Did I finish that? Yes, I did. Combined, they form a C augmented major 7th chord. C, E, G sharp, and B. I can tell you right now, you're not going to hear that very often. I can't think of one single time where I've heard that before. Let's examine an F sharp augmented major 7th chord. So we're going to make, ooh, look at that. We're going to make an F sharp augmented triad. F sharp, A sharp, C, double sharp. I love the augmented triad. It sounds so cool. 4 half steps, 2 major thirds. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's not a D, friends. What is it? That's right. It's a C double sharp. And then we're going to make an E sharp, not an F. We already have an F. It's a sharp. We need an E of some kind because it's the thirds. And you see my cursor's already there. Already right there, pointing at it. Probably from the last one that I pointed at. When combined, they form an F sharp augmented major 7th chord with F sharp, A sharp, C double sharp, and E sharp. That's a lot of sharps. Let's examine. Okay, that's enough. A flat augmented. Now I know it's the key of the day and all, but A flat I just said A sharp, didn't I? A flat augmented major 7th. This is just so many words. It feels like technobabble from a sci-fi show, such as don't say it, Star Trek. Anyway, so A flat, C, E, and G. That's a cool one. Finally, an augmented triad and a minor 7th combine to form an augmented 7th chord. Okay, augmented 7th chords are abbreviated with a plus and a 7. Let's examine a C augmented 7th chord. Please don't be scared. There is a sharp and there is a flat in the same chord. It happens. You must learn to accept these things. C, E, G sharp is an augmented triad. C to B flat is the minor 7th. Let's hear it. Oh, that's fun. Anyway, when combined, they form a C augmented 7th chord. C, E, G sharp, B flat. Okay, I think that's about enough of that. Use this chart for reference for the additional types of 7th chords covered in this lesson. Alright, somehow, now, with this most confusing lesson, I've had the most people viewing my video right now. Before we go into anything else, I think we need a musical interlude to entertain these folks. Ooh, that's beautiful. We need a new instrument. That's right, it's the suitcase piano. Augmented on the 5 sounds way better. So we're doing a 1, minor 3, major 4, major 5, deceptive cadence to minor 6. I don't know what that is, flat 7. Augmented dominant chord, and then I'm going to end with a 6, a 1/6 chord. We talked about that. Very 50s. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that little musical interlude. Now, back to your your theory lesson. Whoa, what was that? Oh, you couldn't see that. Oh, that was this. What was that? World Art Day. Okay, apparently it's World Art Day. Have fun with that. All right, so 7th chord inversions. And we lost somebody. Okay, anyway. Like triads, 7th chords can be inverted by moving I'm just checking something real quick. It's been an hour. Okay. They can be inverted by moving the lowest note up an octave. Okay, so remember, this is called the root, the 3rd, the 5th, and the 7th. Right now, the root is in the bass, meaning it's the lowest note being sounded. The root is in the bass. Root 3rd, 5th, 7th. Root position is the same as a triad. Root is the lowest note. And I'm just playing what's up there. That's a major 7th chord with a major triad and a major 7th. Ooh, we gained that person back. Well, welcome back. Or new person, welcome. When you invert the chord, you change what's in the bass. You take the bottom note, whatever it may be, up an octave. Octave is 8 notes, or move it up to the next highest of the same letter note. Now, the 3rd is our bass. Okay, so it changes the way the chord sounds, or its voicing. Let's invert the chord again. Ooh, look at him just moving around there. So we've taken the 3rd up an octave. So now our 5th is in the root. So I'm going to do these inversions. Root position. First inversion. Second inversion. And if you remember from triads, that's all you got. And then you're back to root. But we have an extra note. Let's invert the chord again. Now the 7th is the lowest note of the chord. It's in the bass. This is called 3rd inversion. Okay, with 3 notes, you only have 2 possible inversions. With 4 notes, you have 3 possible inversions. Next, let's invert the chord one more time. Notice the chord returns to root position. All right, well, that was pretty easy. I'm going to let you stew on that. I've been drinking water, so I need a brief bathroom break. I'll be right back. And what's the first thing I do when I get back? Drink more water. And I just realized I hadn't been playing any background music through that. Good on you for staying focused through all of that without any background music. I don't know if that's good on you, or good on me, or good on everybody, or good on us, or good on we. But it's all of us. Could you imagine if I had a shot of espresso before this? I'm just thinking, I'm like, man, I'm really into this. But whoa, it would be like, and then you take and you flip it, and I would just start rambling, and you'd be like, what is happening? Maybe I'd go viral for that. Maybe I should have an espresso. Okay, we must power through. We're almost done here. We're almost done. You guys are doing so great. You deserve a piece of candy. Unfortunately, I am in your computer, or more likely your phone, so I could not deliver a piece of candy to each and every one of you, all 4 of you watching right now. But if there is any candy in your vicinity, you should eat it, because you have earned it. Congratulations. You have now eaten a piece of candy. let's review Roman numeral analysis. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Funny story. You know, it would be worth the joke for me to grab something right now. I want you to take a look at this. I want you to observe something here and be more observant than I was. Oh, I didn't have you looking at my browser. So, just for reference, this is what we're looking at. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay? So, I want you to observe something. I'm going to give you a couple seconds to just kind of take this in. Drop it in the chat if you notice what the issue is. And if you do notice what the issue is within, I don't know, any time between 1 and 6 months, you'd be doing it in half the time that it took me to notice what the issue is. Any ideas? Any ideas what the issue with my clock is? I made this clock, if you couldn't tell. Yes, I did. And, I made this clock not at the age of 6. No. I made this clock probably at the age of 30, maybe 6 years ago. So, any takers? I don't see anything in the chat. We're a quiet group today. But, yeah, there's something pretty wrong with this. And it would go with your knowledge of Roman numerals. And as a music theory expert, I happen to know, Roman numerals pretty well. But I don't go very high. So, some of them I did have to look up, like, what do you do? Why can't I hold this in a right way? There you go. Like this. What do you do? Oh, boy. What do you do for 8? Is it 10 minus 2? Or is it 5 plus 3? Well, turns out you can do a couple of different things. Roman numeral usage varied based on when it was in history and, who was doing it and what the particular circumstances were and blah, 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 blah. Anyway, I have 2 12s because I'm a freaking idiot. That's why. That's what happened. Because apparently, I don't know that 11 is 10 plus 1. So yeah, that's fun. I need a new battery in this one. I didn't make this 6 years ago. I made it longer than that ago. 2018 is when I made this clock. And, I mean, it was over a year. I'm sad to admit, it was over a year before I realized. And I was just sitting there looking at it. I see this clock every day. I was just sitting there looking at it like, oh, man, I put 2 12s. What an idiot. Yep, that's what I did. Just like I forgot to hit browser view. Life's a journey. You got to be gentle. Remember, I say at the end, be nice to yourself because you're going to be stupid. That's not part of what I say, but you're going to be stupid. You're going to be stupid. Okay, anyway. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 is all you need. That's why I couldn't tell that 11 was 12 and not 11. Anyway, so we use the numbers, uppercase for major, lowercase for minor, plus for augmented, degree sign for diminished. Okay, so in a C major scale, well, let's just go all the way to the end here. Oh yeah, that's a lot of information, but it's all relevant. Clip it. Screenshot it. You have a major 1, you have a minor 2, you have a minor 3, you have a major 4, you have a major 5, you have a minor 6, you have a diminished 7. That's how they work out diatonically. So, within the key, C major. It's a major triad. I'm going to go up the scale. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. I'm going to build a triad. I'm just playing what's up on the screen. I'm going to build a triad on each chord in the key. So C major, D minor, E minor, F major, G major, A minor, B diminished, and C. Okay, and you can see it's different for each of the natural minor, the harmonic minor, and the melodic minor scales. Alright, there's your refresher of Roman numeral analysis with triads. Now, let's talk about Roman numeral analysis with seventh chords. Y'all are hanging with me. This is great. Whoever you are either loving this or you just put it on and you went to do something else. And either way, I applaud you. Thank you. Just make sure you hit that like and subscribe and share this video with your friends. In addition to triads, the Roman numeral analysis system also identifies diatonic seventh chords. We're going to blaze through this because this is completely irrelevant to literally anything. Basically, like you're not going to ever stack seventh chords on all the diatonic notes. But anyway, it's a lesson. I'm covering it. Let's discover these analysis symbols of the major and harmonic minor scales. A three-step process is used. First, write the analysis symbol for the corresponding diatonic triads. Okay. Oh, the triads, yeah, okay. Add a small 7. Finally, what? Add, okay, you can see, okay, yeah, just a couple. Finally, add a slash through the circle of each half-diminished seventh chord. Some theorists use a variation of this system. I'm just trying to see what changed. Ah, there you go. They prefer to add an uppercase M to each seventh chord, which uses a major seventh. Although we will not use their system, you should be aware of its existence. You should also be aware of your own existence, because that is very important. Self-awareness is key. Let's look at inverted seventh chords. Well, we really didn't describe what's happening here. So, did it say minor? Major and harmonic minor. Oh, I see. Okay. So they just kind of threw some stuff at you and they didn't really clarify it. So allow me. That's my job. That's why I'm here. That's why I get paid. Nothing. So, top one, the top staff here, is the major diatonic seventh chord stack. Remember, a chord stack is chords built on the diatonic notes. Diatonic again means chords, notes within the scale. Right? So, if you build a seventh chord off of each note in the scale, you start on C, you stack up 4 notes, you get a C major seventh chord. On a D, you get a D minor seventh. Minor for the triad, minor for the seventh. On E, again, minor. Major 7, because it's a major 7 and a major triad. Okay, 7 refers to a diatonic seventh chord, or a dominant seventh chord with a major triad and a minor seventh. A minor 7, B half diminished seventh because it is a diminished triad, 3 half steps and 3 half steps, and then a major third or a minor seventh, 2 half steps away from an octave. I'm just trying to explain things in multiple different ways. And then on the bottom staff, you have a key signature showing you the key signature for E flat. Remember, we haven't reviewed this in a while, so it's good to talk about because they haven't showed us key signatures in a while. So, to name the key of a flat key, to identify the key, you go from left to right, the second to last flat. From left to right. This is the rightmost. That is an A flat. This is the second to last, also known as penultimate. Shout out to Mr. Willis, who taught me that in college. The penultimate flat, second to last. Penultimate is the word for second to last. E flat is the second to last flat. Therefore, it is the name of the key, the major key. Now remember, a relative major and a relative minor are separated by a minor third, or 3 half steps. So C minor shares the key signature of E flat major, okay? So E flat major is the key, but we're building a C minor scale chord stack, 7th chord stack. So sorry to review all that, but I just want to make sure everybody's on the same page here. If you build a 7th chord out of diatonic notes in the natural minor scale. Oh, it says harmonic minor scale, so that means our 7th scale degree will be raised. Lowered 3rd, lowered 6th, raised 7th. Okay, that's a harmonic minor scale. So if we build this 7th chord stack. Ooh, baby. We get that James Bond sound. A minor, major, 7th. Oh my god, it's Gabriel Legutko in the chat. How you doing, sir? I heard you were recovering from doing your first taxes as an adult. Congratulations. Oh my god, do I have it? Can I pull it up? Can I pull it up? Can I pull it up? I'll do this one first. Anyway, and then, what was it? Where was it? Where was it? Where was it? There you go. Well, you came for some relaxation, and instead, I'm traumatizing you. Oh, come on. A moment. A moment. A moment. Another moment. Oh, what the heck? Oh, there it is. Hey, congratulations on your first taxes. Yay. The crowd goes wild. Anyway. Playing Magic the Gathering with Nick. Oh, cool. I got some Lord of the Rings Magic the Gathering cards. You already hate it. What, taxes or Magic the Gathering? Okay, let's continue so I can go back to jamming, okay? Let's see, because, Gabe was in one of the only years I was able to teach music theory, taxes, of course. Hollow One Ring 2, Magic Gathering. Cool. Ooh, holographic one. I don't remember which ones I have. I bought a couple of different sets, but they are fun. So Mr. Gabe over here was in my music production class. You are one of the only folks. There was a very limited amount of people who took that class, and we went over all of this Ableton stuff. And I remember you made some really good beats and really fun music. So if we get into it, I may just save that for another day and just do a jam after I'm done torturing people. Have you been here the whole time and you just started chatting? One of the greats. Face melting. Alright, so let me finish this real quick and then we'll get into a jam. Let's see. So, minor, harmonic minor scale, chord stack. You have a C, minor, major 7, minor triad, major 7, D, F, A flat, C gives you a half diminished with a diminished triad and a minor 7. Okay, E flat, G, B natural, and D gives you an augmented major. Like I said, I've never heard that chord anywhere, except for in theory. F, A flat, C, E flat gives you a minor 7. G, E, D, and F gives you a plain and simple old dominant 7th chord. Major triad, minor 7th. A flat, C, E flat, and G gives you a major 7, if we're being absolutely clear. B, D, F, A flat, gives you a fully diminished 7th chord. Sorry. Dealing with some orchestra stuff. Like I mentioned, we got our orchestra concert coming up on Thursday. All right. So we talked about this. Some theorists use a variation, blah, 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 blah. Let's look at inverted 7th chords. Why would we do that? Oh, yeah, because we just talked. Oh, okay, because we're talking about the numbers. Ah, yes, the numbers. Oh, please. Oh, please. Oh, please. I already see something I don't like. All right. So let's talk about inverted 7th chords and the inversion symbols. That's what these are called. Previously discussed, 7 identifies a root position 7th chord. And in that example up here, they showed this as a dominant 7th chord, which is a major chord with a minor 7th. So previously discussed, 7 identifies a root position 7th chord because you have, if you were being absolutely clear, you'd have a 3, a 5, and a 7. If you are available, feel free to come by and help. Okay, oop, that's a major 7, excuse me. So if you were to write what you should do if you're trying to if for whatever reason you are taking a self-study and doing the AP exam, I would be more than happy to help you. Reach out if you need that. Aw, my sweet. So you would identify every interval that you see. So you would see a 3rd, a 5th, and a 7th. So that the implied is 7, 5, 3. All right? And then as we flip it around, we get a 6, 5 because we have an interval of a 5th, we have an interval of a 6. But to be absolutely clear, we have a 3rd down there too. So we have a 6, 5, 3. Is that like Stranger Things or something? I've never seen that show, but that kind of sounds like it, I think. It's funny how little sounds just remind you of stuff. Okay, we flip it again. And we have the interval of a 6, we have the interval of a 4, and we have the interval of a 3rd. Okay, so if you were being absolutely clear, you would do 6, 4, 3. That kind of sounds like it too. Maybe that's the chord. I don't know. All right, a lone 2 identifies a 3rd inversion chord. No, it doesn't. That is not correct. It is a 4-2. I've never seen a lone 2. I don't know where that came from. Okay. I guess I really am one of these theorists that they talk about, because that is not correct. So, you have a 2nd, but from the top you have a 6, you have a 4, and you have a 2. Let's go to the whiteboard. All right, let's see what you can see. Is this the one? I think that's the one. When I'm looking at my screen, I can't see what you see. I don't know how to do that. All right, so let's erase. Oh, you know what? Look at that. Oh, how freaking perfect is this? Look at that. The last thing I drew on my whiteboard was these inversion symbols for triads. And now we have a 7th chord. We're going to get rid of this because that's irrelevant right now. Okay. So let me just start over. And I was thinking, and we're going to start way over. Just completely erase everything. I don't know if you heard any of that, but we're going to start all over. And I have here a cup full of colored markers. Paige would be very happy. She helps me do all the boards and stuff. Speaking of which, my school calendar is still on March. What up, Paige? What's up with that? It's April. It's not only April, it's halfway through April. All right. I can't really see what colors these are. Black. I think that's also black. Pink. We're going to color code this a little bit so that's easier to understand what it is I'm talking about. We're going to use red. We're going to use blue. We're going to use green if we can see it. We're going to use purple if we can see it. And orange if we need to. All right. And of course, black. So, from the most basic thing here that you need to understand, notes, scales, intervals, and chords, and of course, 7th chords. And there's, probably chord progressions, but anyway, that's like the things you need to understand in the order that you need to understand them in. All right. I'm going to put a box around that and pretend it won't get erased if it knocks into something. It's protected because it's got a box around it. All right, let's get over here and do this thing. So, we have a root position chord is a 5 and a 3. And that goes in parentheses because you don't need to say the 5 and the 3. And this is a 5 and a 3. Oh, that's what the colors were for, dummy. Alright, I'm going to stay consistent here. Let me just draw my notes. Then you have a root, not a root, you have a first inversion with a 6 and a 3. And the 3 you don't always say. And you have a second inversion with a 6 and a 4, and you say all of those things. Alright, let's get some colors going on here. Let's see what we get. Can you see this color? I sure can. Oh, that's fun. Oh, what's not gonna do it? That's a fun little sound. Alright, let's do our thirds. In green. 3. Let's do our fifths in red. And all of a sudden it feels like Christmas. Alright, that looks like neon green, but it's not. Third. That's not a third. And fifth. Oh, goodness. 6. We'll do 6 too in red. Okay, so we have a 6. And we'll do 4s in green too, just because. 4. 6. Look how pretty. Okay. All of your triad inversions. Color coded. So you can see. Screenshot it. Alright. And you're done. Next, we will do our 7th chord inversions. And I'm going to show you the proper way to do it instead of just 2. Because I've been teaching music theory for 4 years now. And I've learned music theory for, God, over 20 years now. And I've never seen that. Anyway, your 7th chord inversions coming right up. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Remember, a triad is 3 notes. A chord is 4 or more. Okay, that one. this one. And that note hangs off on the side there. Because they're too close. You wouldn't want them to do like this. That would be really hard to read. Oh, excuse us. Okay. And then they start stacking off of that one. And then, boom. All right, hopefully I left myself room here. Because we're going to do a, let's just call it a 5 because it's the 7th chord. 5, 7. 5, 6, 5. Oh yeah, remember? 7, 5, 3. But those are in parentheses. 6, 5, 3. That's in parentheses. 5, 4, 3. But it's a 6 in parentheses, 4, and a 3. 3, 4. Booyah. And then 5, 6 is still there, bro. 4, 2. That's what you say. So remember, the parentheses are implied. The parentheses you do not always need to say, but it is still there. It does exist, so you do need to acknowledge its existence, as well as your own. Third. Now we're going to have blue in here. 5th. I'm going to do this on the other side maybe. 7th. Okay. Coolio. Now, maybe I'll do 6 in orange. Let's see if that's any different. Okay, so we have a 3rd. We have a 5th. And we have a 6th. Yeah, you can kind of see that. Okay, and then we have a 3rd. I'm going to do blue this time, because I only have one blue. This is a 4th. Let's do that in blue over here. We're gonna retcon this. 4. We're gonna retcon the 6 too, because those should be orange now. Although it's gonna be very close. 6. Cool. That looks good. All right. Yep. Okay. And a 6. This looks really cool. Color coding is just very satisfying. Even if that's not like the type of person I am in general, it's just very satisfying. I can appreciate the allure of color coding. 4. Oh, we need a new color. Let's do purple. 2. Let's put these back in the bucket. In the cuppet. In the cuppet. Alrighty, look at that beautiful thing. And look, I still managed to have my face in it. Alright, so you have... where's my finger? It's way down here. So you have triad inversions, 5-3, 6-3, and 6-4. Then you have 7th chord inversions, 7-5-3, 6-5-3, 6-4-3, and 6-4-2. I tried to put the emphasis on the correct syllable and the way that you would actually say it. I don't know how to put this so you can see it. There it is. Screenshot it. All right. I think that's just about enough music theory for today. Let me see what else there was there. Okay. So I just had to show you that that is not just a 2. Let's arrange the symbols in a different way. Ooh, do you notice anything unusual? I don't think it's unusual. it's definitely not unusual. It's actually very usual. It's in fact descending order. The inversion numbers are in numeric order, descending, of course, from 7 to 2. So 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 4, 2. I don't know why they omitted the 4. Acknowledge its existence. You can use this pattern to remember the inversion numbers for 7th chord. So 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 4, 2. And back to 7. Yay, we did it, and we are most likely done. Okay, we did that. We did all of that. Let's review everything that we've gone over in the last 2 weeks. This is exciting. We know all about the staff, the clef, and the ledger lines. We know about note duration. From the amazing, I was trying to think of an adjective, the lovely whole note to the small little 16th note, and then some, even further down to the 32nd and the 64th and the 128th. Measures and time signatures. We've talked about that a little bit. Rest, duration, not restoration. I'm pretty sure I make that joke every single time. Dots and ties. Remember, you add half of the value of whatever note it is with a dot. And a tie is between two of the same note across a bar line. Steps and accidentals. From the natural to the sharp to the flat to the double sharp to the double flat. And even more. Because today I explained how you can triple sharp, you can triple flat, and you can go, I mean, it's theoretical, of course, and gosh, God help you if you ever see it, but, you know, it exists. Simple and compound meter, we talked about that. All the different time signatures. Odd meters, such as 5s and 7s and 11s. The major scale, whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. And tetrachords, which I think they were in there. Maybe they were something I added. Tetrachords, remember? And that's something that's featured in my theory video that I produced. Okay, so that's in the produced sections of my videos. Minor scales, there are 3. Natural minor, melodic minor, harmonic minor. Oh, I said that backwards. Harmonic minor and melodic minor. Remember, melodic is different, ascending and descending. It's getting close to dinner time, folks. I better wrap it up here. Scale degrees, we talked about that one today even. Key signatures, we talked a little bit about that today, but go back and review that if you need to. Generic intervals, the size. Specific intervals, the quality. Writing intervals, inversion of intervals, and then chords. Okay, introduction to chords, triad inversion, and we spent all lovely day here talking about 7th chords, more 7th chords, inverting 7th chords. We talked previously in the same lesson we did chords about diatonic triads, and also Roman numeral analysis, which we reviewed today. We talked today about diatonic 7th chords. We also talked about Roman numeral analysis of 7th chords. So that leaves us with composing with minor scales, voicing chords, analyzing Canada. Maybe a little bias there. I wonder if they are from Canada. I wonder. Non-harmonic tones. So we're going to spend we'll get into this, and we got a whole lot left. So maybe, okay, remember, tomorrow I will be live. And then Thursday I have my concert, so I will not be live. Friday is our jam. Saturday is our technical day. I have to figure out what I'm doing for that still. We might take you into the shop, which is kind of loud, like I said, or I might take some work into my inside workbench, because that garage gets pretty hot. So in Florida, I gotta have that inside workbench. You gotta learn to survive. So look at all this stuff we have yet to talk about. Phrases and cadences. I guarantee you it'll be talking a little bit about this. And then circle progressions, which we have touched on. It's a circle of fifths. Anyway, triads in first inversion, triads in second inversion, Auld Lang Syne. And my favorite, which we've been teasing, Neapolitan chords. Is that right? No, that's not right. Oh my gosh. Neapolitan 6th chord. There it is. Anyway. And then finally, an analysis of the Moonlight Sonata. Measures 41 through 51. 49 through 51. Anyway. So, we have a lot to get to. But we have done an incredible amount. So, you should be very proud of yourself for following along with me. You should also take some time and hit that like and subscribe button and share this video with your friends if you find any value in it. And you should also take some time and go over the exercise section. Maybe tomorrow, instead of a lesson, in lieu of a lesson, we will describe the process. We, as in I, will describe the process of how to set up the exercise section of musictheory.net for you to practice these various topics. But if you feel brave and adventurous, you can go in and check them out on your own. You have staff identification, staff construction. This is identifying something. This is making something. Keyboard identification, how the notes are on the keys if you want help doing that. And I briefly talked about my plans. I don't remember if I actually finished that thought, but after I finish all the piano theory stuff, I would like to do the same thing, or at least touch on the topics on the guitar. So there is a fretboard identification section. Okay. And so that applies. You can actually change that to a violin, to a cello, to a bass, to a ukulele, to a mandolin, to a banjo, whatever fretboard instrument you want. I think even a dulcimer, but we'll check that out. And then you have ear training, which is listening examples. And then for me, a teacher, I can exercise, or if you are a teacher and you're watching this, you can customize your own exercise. And if you assign any of these to your students, you can validate that they actually did and they received the score that they did. And we'll talk about all of that, maybe tomorrow a little bit. Okay, let's continue to jam a bit. In our daily key, let me cue up my ending music. In our daily key of A flat. Yo, over here. I'm very tired and very hungry. cut that off. We're going to go over here. We're going to bust out that mini DX that we all love so much, especially me. We're going to finish this off on the DX. Maybe I'll do a little bit more looping. Maybe I'll do a little bit more something else. I don't know. We're about to find out. Hey, don't go over there. You go here. Hey. Oh boy, that was a fun sound. Excuse me. Gotta love the mini DX. The DX. Reface. Ooh, remember your key of the day, sir. I was like, why does it sound so delicate? Do a little looping. Let's see if I can get it right this time. We're gonna go up there. We're gonna go up here. Ba 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 booty ba ba. Oh wait, I gotta remember my key of the day. Hello. That was kind of fun, but we're gonna clear that. We're gonna remember the key of the day. I'm gonna try and add some chord changes in here. See if I can remember them. Ooh, I'll do my chord progression. Alright, we're gonna try this. I don't think that loop's right, but that's alright. Okay, here we go. Oh, I gotta wait till that repeats all the way around. Okay, here we go. Ready? If I had this, which I should, on batteries, then I could, and I would need another cable and another input, but I could do like drums on my big keyboard and then do stuff on here. I'll experiment. We're still at the beginning of this journey, friends. Alright, so I'm basically just doing a layer per octave. I have 5 octaves to work with here. 5 octave switching here, but 3 octaves here. So it kind of overlays a little bit. I don't know how exactly it works, but 5 octaves to select from, but 3 here. So it probably goes like... Going a little crazy there. Well, that was fun. I think we may have to just end it there. We're just going to end it right there. That was fun. I hope you had fun today. I hope your brain isn't completely mush. Let me get back to center here. I hope your brain is not completely mush. Just a little bit of mush is okay. Does that look good? That look all right? Am I here? Can you hear me? Well, this has been fun. Let me cue my ending music so I can ramble for just 2 minutes and 49 seconds. That's about all you need after all of that. That was a nice, delicate little jam out. Jam out as in leaving the end. The end of my stream. On this Wednesday, getting ahead of myself. On this Tuesday, is it? It is tax day. Oh my god. Who knows? Maybe the last one we'll ever have. If things go right. But anyway, happy tax day. Happy art day, apparently. I hope you had some fun. Let me turn this puppy up a little bit. Booty-doo. It's been a lot of fun. I'm very tired and very hungry. And talking about all the 7th chords today. And reviewing our progress that we have made. It's been quite a journey to get here. I am so astounded that I'm looking at a number that says 270. 270 individual people have subscribed to this channel, and I've been averaging about 20 per day. That is an incredible growth. Of course, I am paying for YouTube ads. So they're putting my content in front of people. But there are billboards everywhere. There are advertisements everywhere. So advertising works, as you can see. I mean, I would just be sitting here talking to myself. And I just think back to my very first live stream 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, I think 3, where 2 of my students, shout out to Amanda and Lucas, just popped in the chat. And I was fully, 100% ready to play to nobody. For nobody. And here I am. This diminished chord tells me that it's time to wrap it up. Here I am, a few weeks later, celebrating over 250 subscribers. Welcome to Durante's House of Music. I've been Tom Durante, the maestro. You've been my lovely people. And I cherish each and every one of you. Please, be good to yourself. Be good to each other. As Bill and Ted would say, be excellent to each other. Alright? That's what you gotta do. And you also need to like, subscribe, hit the notification bells, share this video with all of your friends, even if it's just one, and comment in the comment section if you have any questions. Like I mentioned today, I'm your free music theory teacher. take advantage of it. Please. And one more thing you must do. Have a great night.